All right, I'm here with Travis. He drove a Miata here last year at Thompson 12 Hour. Had a little incident. Well, not really a little incident. Travis, you actually caught on fire here. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was last year. It was early on in the race, a couple hours in, having a great race, and then everything went wrong. I thought I'd blown the engine, and you go to pull off the track, and I looked down at the gauge, and the RPMs were still turning, and that's when I knew something was wrong. And right as that happened, all of a sudden, I go to take a breath, and I couldn't breathe. I go to take a second breath, and it was more painful than the first. And that's when things started happening fast.
You were still moving, right, in the car?
Yeah, I'd pulled off and I was coasting. But yeah, once I couldn't breathe, I stomped on the brakes. And like I said, that's when things started to go wrong. So I was stomped on the brakes, went to go get out of the car, and I didn't realize at the time, but the fuel tank part of it had exploded. So when I stomped on the brakes, it sloshed the gasoline out of it and soaked me in the car. So as I'm fighting to get out, that's when the secondary explosion happened, and the next thing I know, I feel myself get knocked to the side, and then I opened my eyes and everything was on fire. You go through in your head the worst case scenarios of what to do, so instinctively, I go to reach for the fire suppression. Pulled it, nothing happened. You're praying for a miracle, so I go to pull it a second time, hoping that I just didn't pull it hard enough. Well, I almost broke it out of the mount second time, and nothing happened. So that was when I knew it was going to be bad. And I had to, I was on fire and had to fight to get out of the car. And obviously I was able to get out, but I was still on fire when I hit the ground and had to roll in the grass, put the fire out. And then luckily another racer by that point had got to my side and was able to help me get to the ambulance, show me where it was, and I was able to get some help.
Now, the equipment in your car, you said you had the pool foam type stuff up on the cage. What happened with that?
Well, as you can see with the helmet, when that stuff's not SFI rated, it's not for fire. So when it got hit with gasoline and ignited, it almost turned to napalm. As you can see, it melted to the helmet. Some of the scars on my body are from that. It kind of melted to the fire suit. And as you said, I was still on fire when I got out of the car, because the fire suit obviously is not supposed to burn, but when it's got stuff melted to it that's on fire, there's only so much you can do. So yeah, that was unfortunate. And then, like I said, the fire suppression system didn't work. We found out later on, you try and save money every weekend racing. There's different levels of every kind of equipment. And we've had what we thought was very good, but in the absolute worst case scenario where you're soaked in gas and in an explosion, it wasn't rated to hold up to that, and unfortunately it failed. So we've learned from that, steel braided cables are the way to go.
For the pull for your
fire alarm. For the fire suppression system, for the cables for that, because they melted, and that's why that didn't work. So yeah.
Wow. So the helmet itself. So show us a little about the helmet. What happened there? So you like most of us racers, and I don't mean this the wrong way, but a lot of us have always cracked open, so we can get fresh air, we call it. And but that kind of hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, the helmet basically tells the better story than I can of what happened. As you can see, the visor melted. I got burned the worst on the right side of my body, and it just completely melted. You can see the grass from where I rolled to put the fire out. And then even the hard plastic of the side, you can see where that just completely melted, and where the material was on fire.
But that, because that material is Nomex for a SA-rated helmet, that actually was good.
That and the balaclava, that's why I still look okay. If it wasn't for all of those, I don't know if I would have fared nearly as well. So I'm very thankful for that. You mentioned that the visor. So like you said, everybody when they're racing, you want a little bit of air, you want to be able to breathe, you want to stay cool. I had the visor cracked. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I was lucky. The only burn on my face that you can really notice is my lips got a little bit burned. But yeah, if it hadn't been for the balaclava and everything else, it would have been way worse. So I'm very thankful for all the gear that I had.
So were you wearing underwear with your the fireproof underwear with your suit too?
Yeah, so I was wearing a single layer fire suit, but I had on the fire protective underwear underneath. And so that was able to do okay, but like with anything else, in hindsight, had I had on thicker equipment or thicker suit, I would have been protected a little bit better. I wouldn't have ended up with as bad of scars. But overall, for what I had, it protected me very well.
So what would you recommend teams do way prior to racing, practicing, getting in and out of the car, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so actually, as a result of this, a few people have contacted me and said that they'd never before practiced emergency procedures getting out of the vehicle, and that after my incident and hearing about what all I went through, that they've started to do that. That's the biggest thing, is just be assertive in your own life and what's going on, and just think ahead and know the things that can happen, and just do the best to try and avoid them and mitigate them. Like I said, immediately I was on fire and I knew to pull the fire suppression, because my team, my family, we talked about all that. And then with prepping the car, like I said, we learned the hard way. Steel braided cables, whatever's going to hold up the best in the worst case scenario is obviously the best way to go if possible. The firewall, so that was unfortunate, getting soaked in gas. Had we had a full firewall, I don't believe that would have happened. Yeah, and then the fuel cell, that we were running the stock tank, and with all the modifications we'd done, it didn't hold up under the, so a lot of hard lessons learned, but I'm glad it resulted as good as it did.
Are you guys going to return racing?
Yeah, if there's any sponsors out there looking for a team, I think we figured out how to go fast. I just want to be able to do it again.
Cool. Now, you served in the Army. Did that help you out in this whole ordeal?
Absolutely. I had non-lethal weapons training where I've been pepper sprayed and been through the gas chamber and all, so I've been in situations where you can't breathe. And in the Army training, they put you in that situation and make you stay calm and make you learn how to stay calm. And that was the biggest thing. Like for me, as I was fighting through, I actually had a mantra in my head trying to stay calm. And like I said a minute ago, with my family had talked to me before, in the worst case situation, this is what you need to do. Well, in a bad situation, you resort back to your training, and that was what I was taught in the Army. So yeah, that's a big thing, is just take accountability for your team and for your people. Try and look after yourselves, and yeah, just do the best you can. Have fun.
Cool, man. We will see you back out here at the track, and thanks for talking with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.